With the draft less than 1 week away, I'm like a kid staying up before Christmas, waiting to see what San Francisco does with their 11th overall pick. And this pick is more vital than in recent years because San Francisco was a naughty kid selecting Trey Lance and lost a couple years of their first round. And that's why this year, I believe they're going to be trying to go for a potential Aaron Donald-esque player in Walter Nolen, the defensive tackle out of Ole Miss. And I get it, in my first 2 drafts, I had them selecting an edge piece, but the more that I looked at Nolen, the more that he made sense for San Francisco's one-gap penetrating system. That's to say, don't hold my stupidity against me, so in this video, I do want to show you Walter Nolen a little bit more deeply, and why he's the perfect fit for San Francisco headed into this draft. Initially to start his career, Nolen played at 3 different high schools: Olive Branch High School, St. Benedict High School, and Powell. And during his senior season at Powell, he had 93 tackles, 33 tackles for loss, 27 quarterback hurries, and 17 sacks. This was good enough for him to be ranked as a #1 football recruit in the 2022 recruiting class. After this breakout senior season, he had a plethora of offers, including from Alabama, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Michigan, and Florida. Ultimately, he did decide to enroll at Texas A&M. And immediately as a true freshman, he made an impact playing in 10 games with 4 starts, and he registered 29 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, 1 sack, and a forced fumble. As a sophomore, he continued to see his playing time increase, playing in 12 games while starting in 10, and he registered 37 tackles, 8.5 tackles for loss, with 4 sacks and a pass broken up. Impressive as these early returns were for Nolen, it was when he transferred to Ole Miss in 2024 where everything clicked. He burst onto the scene as a key part of the nation's top rush defense, earning consensus All-American honors while racking up 14 tackles for loss and 6.5 sacks. What I believe made Nolen really impressive though wasn't just his stats. He really disrupted the entire offensive line and was a key reason the school set records with 52 sacks and 120 tackles for loss last year. When you look a little bit more deeply into this film, one of my favorite parts about it is his first step. It allows him to consistently beat slower offensive linemen and find his way into the backfield. He's just so athletic for his size. He also blends his athleticism with insane strength. He can stand up offensive linemen in the running game, and in the passing game, one of his most effective pass rush moves is a bull rush where he's able to collapse a pocket. This mixture of strength and athleticism also makes him a nightmare for double teams to handle. He can start out with the power move and then transition into a speed move. And before you know it, the guy you think you accounted for on the play ends up making a tackle for a loss. Another important factor to mention with defensive linemen is their pad level. And for Nolen, he has outstanding pad level and core strength, which allows him to reset the line of scrimmage, set up offensive linemen, read where the back is going, and then shed their blocks. I also love how active he is throughout the game. His motor runs hot, and he has the athleticism to chase down backs sideline to sideline. And even when he's not necessarily getting a sack on the play, he's disrupting the pocket and often causes the quarterback to flush out of it. His versatility also makes him a perfect fit for San Francisco's defensive line because Chris Kasarik understands how to move a defensive player across the line. You saw him at college play both defensive end, defensive tackle, and even nose tackle at times. Maybe my favorite part about Nolen though is how he improved year in and year out throughout his college career. He was a #1 rated recruit nationally, came in, impressed pretty quickly at Texas A&M in my opinion, improved headed into year 2, and at year 3 at Ole Miss, he was one of the nation's best defensive tackles. And there's still a lot of room for improvement in his game, so headed into the NFL, we should see him continue to refine it, and honestly, he could end up being one of the best defensive tackles across the entire NFL, given his unique blend of size and athleticism. Speaking of size, at the combine, he came in at 6'4", weighing right around 300 pounds, and at his pro day, he ran his 40-yard dash in an impressive 4.95 seconds. This isn't to say he's a perfect player, as he needs to continue to refine his pass rush technique as well as his technique against the run, but given his production against high-level competition and his athleticism, I would actually say this is almost a good thing. Because even though his technique wasn't perfect, he had mind-boggling production. And because of his athleticism and this production, if he ties everything together at the next level, he could end up being the best defensive lineman in this class. And that's a big reason I believe San Francisco brought him in on a top 30 visit while they didn't decide to bring in someone like Harmon from Oregon. But these are just my thoughts on the defensive tackle San Francisco will select with the 11th overall pick if they decide to go that direction, but I'd like to hear your thoughts down below. Do you think they'll go with a player like Harmon instead? And it would also mean a ton to me if you could like and subscribe. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.